Welcome everyone to the December Hangout. Great to see you all here. And well, we're going to be looking at some games, some puzzles, and hopefully there'll be a bit of chat too. And well, off we go. So it's great to be back. It feels like a long time somehow. So welcome everyone. I've got the chat window open here, so do say hi. And there we go. Our first guy to say hello. Hello there. How are you? Nice to see you. So I've got my chat. I'm surrounded as ever by computers and cables and God knows what. So while we're just waiting for a few more people to arrive, I'll have a little slurp of tea. And just to let you know what's on the show tonight, I'm going to start with a puzzle, and then I want to look at a couple of games by AlphaZero if we have time. That'll be really nice. Greetings, Thomas Lentzmeyer in Minnesota. Hi there. Greetings, Akshay from India. Hi to Wyman in My Shoes. How was the London Chess Classic? It was fun. Yeah, it was good. It's really, really enjoyable checking in to the DeepMind offices at Google HQ in London. That was fantastic. It's an amazing offices there and really nice people. And of course, I learned a little bit more about AlphaZero and the whole project, which was great. So I really enjoyed that. Hi to Ayaz Sadiki and Nick in Munich. Hi, everyone. Okay. Let's wait for a few more people, and that gives me a chance to have a little slurp of tea. As usual, I've been overdoing things, so my voice is really croaky. But hopefully it'll last for the broadcast. Okay, listen, Ayaz Siddiqui asks, what are your views on the immigration debate? Well, this is a chess channel. So I'm not quite sure why you're asking that one. But in general, if you want to know my opinion, I'm assuming the immigration debate here in London or generally, I'm very proud to live in London, which is a very multicultural society. There we are. That tells you my view. Thomas Lentzmeyer asks, while we're waiting, any lingering thoughts about the World Championship? Let me see. Well, I really enjoyed it on reflection. I thought it was a really tense match. And I think it was a pity that somehow 12 draws was a headline that didn't really reflect what an interesting and tense match it was. I don't think I've changed things that much, in my opinion. You know, I wrote out a little opinion piece on the community section on the channel. And yeah, I don't believe there should be radical alteration. I think classical chess is a very it's a very worthy form of chess, and we already have other things. We have Chess 960, which is a different cup of tea, but I like classical chess, but don't always expect fireworks. It's normal when you have a one-on-one struggle like this. It's going to be very tense, and I like that. And the tension was maintained right till the end. And I don't mind a rapid play playoff. We need 12 classical games before, possibly 14, possibly 16. I don't mind lengthening. But if there is a change, I don't have any objection to, for example, the title holder retains the title in the event of a draw. I think, yeah, but I don't see there should be any radical reason for a change. I think that answers a lot of the questions there. Alexis Mark says, Daniel is a very cultured individual. Well, thank you for that compliment. We can assume what he feels on most subjects. I'm afraid you can't, actually. I'm an individual. I have my own views. Craig Fraser asks, do you think it would be fair if players could use AlphaZero to prepare for World Championship matches in future? AlphaZero is not being made available commercially. This, I think, you might have missed the point of this. Basically, DeepMind used chess and shogi and Go as a kind of testing ground that they could apply this algorithm, this reinforcement learning algorithm, to different fields. That's the point. The point was not to, we want to create the greatest chess engine. This is not the point of it at all. So, and they have no plans to release it commercially at all, because that would involve, well, devoting their resources to a particular direction which they feel they've done enough in. They want, the real purpose of this is to develop this reinforcement learning and to apply it to real world problems. That's why they're doing it. They have very lofty ideals, for example, in the medical world. So we've got lots of questions on AlphaZero. So hello, Daniel. Great series on AlphaZero and Stockfish. Fascinating stuff. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I found it very interesting. Do you think AlphaZero can become even better? And if it could, what changes in its programming or guidelines could do that? Okay, just to make it clear, I spoke to Demis Hassabis, who is the chief executive of DeepMind, so the leader of this whole program behind AlphaZero. And I repeat, he said to me, they don't want to make this commercially available. They could, if they had wanted to, devote more resources to it so that its training time was even longer, so it played even more games against itself to develop its neural networks even further, but they didn't want to do that. They want to devote their resources to other things. And it's not about tweaking the program. The whole point of this was that it is completely self-taught. That was the idea behind this, to prove that it could teach itself without any human input. This is the essential difference between traditional chess engines like Stockfish, like the others, that use human heuristics to develop an evaluation function. So they're basically ever greater processing power will allow them to search deeper and greater breadth and much deeper, and then to improve the evaluation function. But this is very human input, basically, whereas AlphaZero teaches itself. So they didn't want to touch it. All it was given was the basic rules. So that's the point. Right, let me come back. Julian B asked, Daniel, you still got some gifts to buy, would you have any suggestion for a chess lover? Yeah, do check out my merch. Come on, Power Play Chess merch. Go to Redbubble and check out Power Play Chess. Oh, I should have the link, of course, but I don't. I should be able to put that down. Carlos A says, do you think Parham Magsudlu will play for the World Championship match in 2020, just like he said in a recent interview? I think that would be highly unlikely. You just need to look at his strength. Okay. Bhavnesh Diwan asks, hi Daniel, one question. I want to know the hardware specifications of Stockfish and AlphaZero. Did both the machines have same hardware while playing? No, because they're different things. Stockfish ran on the hardware that was suitable for it, and AlphaZero ran on hardware that was suitable for its thing. And by the way, DeepMind, who are behind AlphaZero, contacted Stockfish for the latest version. This was at the start of 2018, which they were given, and they wanted to make sure it was absolutely fair. So they asked the creators of Stockfish exactly what the best hardware was, the most suitable hardware was for it to run. They also had played games with a 3-hour time limit, and I think 15 seconds or 30 seconds increment per move. which Stockfish took full advantage of. But the funny thing was that actually AlphaZero only played like with, I think, 10 or 15 seconds per move. It didn't use the 3 hours at all. So it's those kind of details that weren't actually, you don't, if you want to read the paper, the scientific paper, those don't come out. So all these people saying, oh, it wasn't the latest version. Well, the paper was published in March and they were given the version up to that time. So there's some, I wish people would read the scientific paper and all these kind of issues would be dealt with. They'd be cleared up. Right, what I want to do is let's look at some chess before we get involved in any more. So here's your first little puzzle to look at. So let me just switch windows. So just bear with me while I do this. 1 second. So here we go. Now this is a study by Jan Timman. Hopefully you can see this very clearly. Let me just increase the board size. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Study by Jan Timman that was published in New in Chess magazine. Jan Timman, of course, one of the great chess players from the 1970s and 1980s, still playing chess, but he also has an interest in studies. So off you go. Peter McGuckin asked, they may never introduce AlphaZero commercially. That's correct. As I've just been mentioning, they have no interest in making any money from this. It's not their purpose. If they did make it available commercially, that would involve taking away a lot of their resources, which they want to use for real world problems, basically. They have no interest in doing that. Yes, which color to move? Very good question. It is white to move. If it were black to move, I think I would take that rook in a great hurry. So it's white to move. What would you play if you were white to move? Someone's suggesting king b2. Well, if king b2, I think I would play pawn takes rook. And if king takes rook, I would take the knight and I would claim to be a piece and 2 pawns up. And I think even I could win that. So not king b2. Maybe you're starting to think on the right lines, though. Tragst says, honestly, I would resign. Hey, Bernd in Dingle. Yeah, happy Christmas to you and to Linda. I hope you're doing well. Nice to hear from you. We're yeah, won't be down in Dingle, unfortunately, but anyway. Yeah, very happy Christmas to you both. Sack the knight, says Professor L. Axis. Sack the knight. Rook takes b2 check. Rook b2. Then give away the rook. Aha, interesting. Okay, if rook b8, then king takes knight. Yeah, that's interesting. King takes knight, then king b2. So probably rook b8, I'd play a3. Yeah, a3. Let's just see that. Rook here and a3. Yeah, that's a winning move, preventing the king coming here. And rook check in here. Yep, Labinot Husseini has the right idea. Yes. Someone's suggesting knight h3, but then in that case, I would just take the rook. But yeah, and if knight here again, I will take the rook. I think I could even take the knight there. Yeah. Lando Corton says, I think I got this one. Okay, well, let me show you the first move. Rook b2 check. And I'll play king takes knight. And now, hopefully, you'll be able to get the right solution here. Then after this, I think, well, yeah, well done. Well done to Craig and to Akshay. Well done. We give the rook, and then we play king b2. And then this, of course, is a draw. Yeah. Trap the rook, and this is a theoretical draw because you can't get the king out of the corner, and it's the wrong colored bishop. If we could just cheat and put the bishop there, then it would be a win, but no. Not stalemate, but this is a draw. So, for example, let's just clear this up. Let's stay in the corner. And here, we'll stay in the corner for the sake of argument. And there is no way to force the king away. That's just a draw, theoretical draw. So there we go. Well done, everybody. So let's just get out of that. And we should be back again. Welcome back, everybody. Great. I think what we'll do is we'll look at a game by AlphaZero next. And there's been a lot of chat. A lot of the sort of same questions are coming up about AlphaZero. I hope that, well, I think I've dealt with those about whether it's commercially available. No. So please do read the academic paper. You'll find the link on the channel, and that will clear up. And it's not, it's I'm a complete layman in this respect, but I found the academic paper actually it's possible to understand it, and that clears up any problems. Right. A couple of questions. How did I learn German? Well, I played in the Bundesliga, and so I thought it might be a good idea to learn German. Any update on the London Chess Classics? Well, there was a fantastic closing dinner. That was great fun with lots of food and lots of booze. And yeah, that was great. That's my update on the London Chess Classic. It's all over. Peter Magukin says, I tried to play like AlphaZero by giving away my pawns for active play. Got interesting games, but ultimately lost. Right. I think this is the problem, that well, hopefully we can be inspired by AlphaZero, but I do think that it could influence the way that some of the top players play. But I think the thing is, you need to play so accurately afterwards that it's not easy. Let me show you another game by AlphaZero. Mache says, what was my highest ranking? I think in about 1990, I was 2560. That's my highest ELA rating, which in today's terms is nothing. But in 1990 was actually quite a high ELA rating. Okay, let me find a game. So just bear with me, and let's take a look at... Well, I'd like to look at this game, which is a Najdorf. So let me just switch windows again, and we'll get to this. And this is fantastic fun. It really is. So just bear with me a second. So Stockfish White here. Let me just increase the board size. Yes, 50,000 subscribers. Yeah, thank you everyone, I should say. For those of you who subscribed, we've reached the 50,000 mark, which I'm delighted about. So thank you very much. If you're a subscriber, of course, and you click on the bell, you get instant notification when I post new videos, and we're posting a lot at the moment. So it's worth subscribing and clicking on that bell. Now, it's a Najdorf. Now, this was one of the positions that they were presented with that is from the Computer Chess Engine World Championship. DeepMind wanted to test AlphaZero over a range of different positions. So they decided to take some of those positions from the Chess Engine Championship and give them to the computers just to give them a variety of positions. Otherwise, there's the danger that it could be sort of very set in its ways and play the same thing. Deepak Dawani says AlphaZero taught us how to attack with 1d4, which humans don't do. I beg to differ, actually. I think you might have seen Garry Kasparov play 1d4 now and again and attack rather well with it. Anyway, moving on. So this is the position that they started with. AlphaZero played rook b8. So this is the first moment when it's on its own. And of course, rook b8 is a very logical move and perhaps predictable from AlphaZero that it wants to open lines. So it pushed the bishop and took the pawn. And this has been seen before. So bishop f2 has been played before, but I think Stockfish's move, bishop e1, is somehow very logical to guard c3, look at the rook as well. Queen b6, so things start to happen. Well, bishop f2. I assume that rook takes b2 could be met by some excruciating discovered attack on the queen. So the queen came back. But I mean, that is such a risky move, putting it on the same line as this bishop. Now, at the moment, it's pinned, so e5 not possible. Nevertheless, queen b7 looks incredibly risky. And indeed, after rook g1, the queen nudged to the side. So I don't know whether this was very advisable to play queen b7. It's one of those very mysterious moves, because one would think that actually the rook is simply far better placed on g1 than h1. Very odd indeed. But ours is not to wonder why. Knight b6. I mean, you can see that surely it would be better to have the rook on h1, not g1. Anyway, let's carry on with the game. And you know, bishop e6 is possible here, but h5, what an extraordinary move. Opening up lines, but there is a point to this, as we're going to see fairly soon after this capture. I mean, it's incredible. You know, it's playing in such an inhuman way at the moment. It looks absolutely bizarre to open up the G file, and indeed this pawn was taken. But it does have a point. This is not evident at the moment, but let's see. Bishop here, rook takes, and a4. So things are starting to happen, but at the moment, AlphaZero is the exchange down. Now, there is a thumping great discovered attack, but Stockfish seems to have this under control at the moment. And king here, and yeah, be careful, because this, now the knight, well, it takes the bishop. I'm assuming that knight d4 would run into trouble somehow. To be honest, I haven't had a chance to analyze this game in any kind of depth at all. Taking is possible, I suppose. I'm not sure. Maybe we should do this and then give ourselves a whole move where white can start attacking. Queen b5 check is perhaps tempting. Feels as though the initiative has swung over, but who knows? It's a mystery. This is so fantastically complex. In any case, AlphaZero decided to take here, and it was all about gaining time to play this move. And now this next move is something else. I won't ask you to try and predict this because it just comes down to guesswork. So first of all, a2. So if knight takes, then I assume that black has sufficient counterplay here, with the king is being opened up. But king takes played, and if queen c2 check, then the king staggers back. But, well, you've probably just seen the move I played. Knight d5 is the most extraordinary move. Obviously, that had to be foreseen sometime in advance. But it feels, at this moment, it seems as though black is running out of attacking pieces. It's got the queen, but the queen can't really do much on its own. Like I said, the king can come back, and white has decent major pieces here. You know, the queen will come out, drive the queen away, and that's the end of that. But at this moment, as you've just seen, it played knight d5. Now, this is quite extraordinary. Okay, well, let me throw a question in your direction. So what happens on pawn takes knight? Over to you. What is black's big idea in this position? Oh, yeah, now I'm going to have to make you think. It's gone very quiet out there. What did AlphaZero do next? We've got one suggestion of... Okay, we've got the suggestion of queen c2 check. Okay, it's a good start. And then bishop f5 suggested, with a threat of queen b1 check. And mate. Okay, we better do something about that. What can we do? Well, it's a very reasonable move, I have to say. I'm looking at some crazy stuff here, but maybe we don't need crazy stuff. Knight a2 is possible. Knight d3 is possible. Knight d3 is interesting. Yeah, I wonder about this. And then I wonder if we can take on e5. Have things turned in white's favor. Don't know. Here? This is a bit unclear, actually. I'm a little bit worried about queen here. Yeah, even this is very, very messy, actually. I'm looking at the other end of the board and looking at this. Takes here. Obviously, I'm not analyzing with an engine, which probably explains all my blunders. Maybe black's okay there. So perhaps I have to play knight a2. And white is a rook up, which is okay. But, well, if we go back, in fact, there is a stronger move than bishop f5, and that's e4 straight away. With the idea, of course, bishop f6. That is the killer move. I mean, that could also be played after bishop f5, knight a2, but I'm sort of suspicious about that. And if knight e2, we can take here and see this. Bishop a3 is mate. This is fun. So queen d2, and this is a crazy position. I mean, suddenly this rook is coming into play. It's extraordinary, but I think white has just enough to hold the day here. Apparently that is a draw. So this wouldn't be a winning continuation for black, actually, but enough to draw. I just think it's a marvelous concept. In the game, rook takes d5 was played. Bishop takes rook. And Stockfish tried to win with king b1. So this starts, again, very interesting position, because actually white is still 2 pawns up. But with the 2 bishops, remember, that's something that AlphaZero really prizes, having the 2 bishops. In fact, black has just about enough play to hold the position. I mean, this is interesting in itself, that AlphaZero judged that it would have sufficient play in this position, and it does manage to activate the bishops beautifully once again. So let's just see a few more moves. In fact, what you can see here, well, interesting that Stockfish wants to repeat the position. That would be a draw, but AlphaZero wants to play on. We've seen in some of the games how that actually led to disaster for AlphaZero. But here, it doesn't actually overplay its hand. In fact, you can see that neither color has actually made progress. And Stockfish wanted to play on. But here, well, finally they agree to draw. Mohammed Hussein Kazi Tabatai asks, what was the point of opening the g-file by Alpha? Well, do you know what? I'm not entirely sure. Except that if we come back to this position, I guess that there were some ideas sometimes of well, here white could push on with g5 and embarrass the knight. So perhaps it was simply that this move gave it some security for a move or two. And if g5 here, then the knight could hop into g4. But I agree, it is very, very mysterious that somehow, incredibly, giving white this option to take on g7 was the way to go. And, you know, once again, it's such a slow motion attack with a5. I find that extraordinary. I'm being asked to say hi to my girlfriend, Sonia. Sonia, delighted to say hello to you. Tiefsinnig Geist, meinte Robert Wendler. Ja, das stimmt. So let's come back. Let's get out of that one. Oh no, well, is there any more to clear up? Well, I mean, this whole game could be examined in enormous detail. There are a lot of questions to ask, but obviously knight d5 is the key move, and an extraordinary move. Fantastic stuff. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. That was the first AlphaZero game, anyway, that we looked at. Right, more questions. Secundo Amanase asks, what do you think about the 30 ELO rating gap, 30 ELO point gap between Ding Liren and Anish Giri? Where has this gap come from? The gap came from the fact that Ding Liren played really, really well, and a bit better than Anish, although Anish has had a superb year. They're both playing really well at the moment, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the future. Why am in my shoes says, could you say hi to my girlfriend too, please? She doesn't exist, but she will one day. Okay, this is getting a bit weird. Let me see. Bhavnesh Diwan asks, after Caruana, who should be the next to challenge Magnus? Yeah, well, it's we're still digesting the last match, but it's going to be really interesting. I think it's wide open. I think Fabi has a really good chance to qualify again. But let's see, you know, Giri maybe. Very hard to say. Ding Liren, I think it would be amazing if there were a Chinese player, and Ding obviously is at the top at the moment. I think it'd be fantastic to broaden out, you know, the interest in the chess world. Can you imagine if there were a Chinese candidate for the world title? I think it would be amazing. It really would be. Robert Wendel asks, are the AlphaZero games in the chess-based database? Oh, I'm sure they will be very soon, yeah. But if you want to see all of the AlphaZero games, then simply Google it, and you'll find, if you go to the DeepMind page, or you'll see that there are some downloads there, and you can download all the games very simply in a PGN file. Kurze Beatbox-Tutorials meinte, hey Daniel, dein Content ist super, mach weiter so. Ja, okay. Werde ich machen. Drew asks, do you think they should have the World Championship match every year to change the champions more often? No, definitely not. The problem is, I think what people don't realize is that the amount of preparation time involved in these World Championship matches is enormous, and this is an incredible strain on both the title holder and the challenger. You know, of course, they were playing a few tournaments in between, but there is a massive amount of time involved in the preparation. And no, the strain is just too great. It's an enormous strain. You could see the strain on Carlsen all this year in 2018, actually. He did not, to me, he didn't look particularly relaxed in tournaments like Biel, for example. There was an enormous amount of pressure on it. It's just too much. Akshay asks, do I play poker? No, I do not. I'm asked if I could analyze my game from 1992 against Anand. Maybe another day. Maybe another day. Bhavnesh asks, what about increasing the number of games to at least 16? Maybe, but you have to, I mean, I think it would be a pity to make this an endurance test. So either 14 or maybe 16, and fewer rest days, perhaps, would be my suggestion. But like I said, I don't think there should be a radical overhaul of the World Championship. It's always been incredibly close. If you go back to Alikin against Capablanca, you know, lots of draws. This is normal. And I don't mind that, so long as they're well fought. And it increases the tension. But there's lots of people going, wah, 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 draws, boring, without really understanding the games. And that's very tiresome. So it's our job to educate people, all of you out there, to say, well, actually, they're really hard-fought games. And they're fascinating. Yeah, should they have the old rules, first to 6 wins? No, I mean, I've dealt with that already. Crazy to play first to 6 wins. Let me see. Hi, Tim. How are you? No worries that you're late. No problem. Has someone asked about the poster yet? They always do. Or books to read? Yeah, they always do. By the way, if you want book recommendations, I'm not going to give any more now, but do check out my book reviews. There's a playlist of book reviews on the channel if you want to check out some recommendations there. There we are. Any books that have caught my eye recently? Well, let me see. New books. Okay, there's one that just arrived from New in Chess, which I will review properly. But just here's a little taste of it. I like this book. It's just arrived in the post, actually, called Test Your Chess Skills. And this is with a strapline of practical decisions in critical moments. So this is just lots of exercises where you have to work, you have to calculate, you have to work hard. And this is the best way to improve your chess, to analyze. So I like that book very much. Test Your Chess Skills, published by New in Chess. And I will be reviewing it properly later. Santiago Mendez says, filing cabinet, like a proper middle-aged man. Yep, you're right. Filing cabinet was introduced, let me see, about 15 years ago, and it changed my life. I like a filing cabinet. To consolidate two old classics, do you have any Soviet poster recommendations to read? Very good. Excellent. I like that. Oh, let me just squash this one. A couple of things straight away. Joshua Penn Watson says, do you think that Chess 960 is a better test of chess ability rather than the memorizing opening book? Listen, this match was not just about memorizing opening books. Please. They showed their enormous skill and determination in attack, defense, middle game strategy, tactics. It wasn't about just openings. Please. Do I think Chess 960 is a better test? I think it's just a different test rather than a better test. And actually, I think it's interesting to have Chess 960 tournaments. But do I think it should, we should do away with classical chess? Of course not. I mean, it was a really rich contest. And the other one that I want to clear up straight away is Hamid Layegi asks, playing the tiebreak before the match was also a good idea, don't you think so? No, I think it's a daft idea. Forgive me. Talk about basic common sense tells me that this is not a good idea. It's basically putting the cart before the horse, as we say in English. Ridiculous. I mean, as I said, I don't think there should be a radical overhaul of the World Championship match. If you want to do without a tiebreak, fine, then have title holder retains the title in the event of a draw. But I like the playoff. I like the speed chess playoff. It introduces a new strategical element into the match. If Caruana felt he was such a disadvantage, then he should have somehow tried to stir things up in the 12-game match, as he tried to do, by the way, but wasn't successful. Right. Let me see. Tim Worrell asked, did you hear Carlsen's idea of playing 12 days, 4 rapid play games in each day, 48 games will give a result? Well, okay. I mean, I think there should just be, it's classical chess. I don't agree with that we should do away with classical chess, full stop. Like I said, I thought it was a very good World Championship. And I don't object to having a rapid play playoff at all. Thomas Lenzmeyer says, I thought the playoff called upon a different chess skill set, one where Carlsen clearly had an edge. Like I said, if Caruana felt that Carlsen clearly had an edge, then he should have tried to finish it in 12 games. For me, this is just like in football. I'm a huge football fan. I like sport generally. I like rugby. By the way, I like football. I like rugby. I like tennis. I enjoy cricket. Great. But in football, for the big championships, for the Cup, World Cup, for example, they have penalty shootouts. It's brilliant. People are saying, "Oh, it's not fair." It's great. I love a penalty shootout. It's so dramatic. Just like we had high drama in the in the final this year. It's great. Love it. But if they decided to have a World Cup based on purely penalty shootouts, that would be bonkers. So there we go. But the result was a speed chess championship. No, it wasn't. It was a classical world championship with a speed chess at the end. Right. Let me see. Pleterman, I mean, this is, no, I'm not even going to. Joshua Penn Watson asks if you could play any, this is a nice question. If I could play any historic chess grandmaster, who would you challenge? That's a really nice question. Kappa. It's got to be Kappa. He's just a dude, simple as that. Yeah. Okay, listen, let me, before I get any more irate about World Championship and AlphaZero questions, let me throw in another puzzle for you. Let me just switch windows. Wait a second. Something simple to keep us all happy, involving my favorite theme as well. So just bear with me while I just switch windows again. Here we go. White to play. What do you do? People are saying, thought I'd suggest Tal, but I played against Tal. So I don't need to imagine it. And it was very enjoyable. And he was a really nice guy afterwards. Paul Hardy says, you're a bit feisty tonight, Danny. Well, do you know what, Paul? When I get the same questions, anyway. Thomas Lensmeyer asks, I have something completely different from the latest vein of questions. Are there exercises one could do to improve one's visualization? Absolutely. I mean, this book that I just mentioned, these kind of calculation exercises are really good. That's exactly what I'm talking about. JCFG asks, was I annoyed by Magnus Carlsen at the World Championship? Not at all. And neither player, Carlsen or Caruana. I thought it was a really exciting match. Alexis Mark asks, tell us more about your game with Tal. How did it come about and how did you fare? Well, I came second. It was played in the tournament in Jurmala in the Soviet Union. Jurmala is just outside Riga in Latvia, but at that time, of course, it was part of the Soviet Union. Well done to everyone that spotted the solution, which is king here. And after queen, then a check. And we can get a little bit dramatic here, but that's still stalemate. After queen takes. Okay, let's come back to some of your questions again. Bhavnesh Diwan asks, Danny, how's the experience of being host of post-match press conference? It was fine. I enjoyed it. It was very interesting to be in the thick of the action, and to ask the players questions, and to to find out more about the games for directly. It was a real privilege to be able to do that. So I really enjoyed it. Of course, sometimes these press conferences were quite tense. When you're asking the players after the game, they're still really wound up. So both players sometimes, are a bit short with their answers. But that's to be expected. And I thought both players generally dealt with the questions very well, in spite of some of the questions being not very good, a bit lame, and pretty ignorant. When people are asking them to basically, in so many words, to reveal their opening preparation, what are they going to say? In fact, for the most part, they dealt with the questions very well indeed. Let me see. Peter McGukin says, saw me and Spielman in 93. I haven't changed much. I'm afraid I've changed quite a bit. Let me see. Thank you, everyone who is for saying I did a good job managing it. Thank you very much. Randall Gingerich says, are those juggling balls on the shelf? Well done, Randall. Yeah, there you go. Bit of juggling. Yeah, I won't demonstrate my skills or lack of them. Let me see. Let me show you another puzzle. We haven't got time to look at another game, so let's look at another one. This is interesting because this was actually something. This is a study by Stammer from 1737, and this is actually an idea that Grishuk demonstrated in his commentary on one of the tiebreak games. So let me show this one. Just 1 second while I switch boards. This is very nice. Here we go. White to play. What's the simplest way for white to win this? If you saw some of the commentary on Chess24 of Grishuk and Giri and Svidler, then you might have seen this particular tactic. Why Men in My Shoes says Danny graduated from Clown College in 1997 before his third Grandmaster Norm. Yeah. Robert Wendel asks, how old was Tal when you played him? Tal, golly, that was in 85. He died when he was 55. I think he was in his 40s. He must have been, I think, maybe 47 or 48, I'm guessing. Let me see. JCFG asks, wie findest du Angela Merkel? Okay, I think I'm going to avoid political questions. Kannst du mal kurz Deutsch sprechen? Ja, habe ich mal gemacht. Yeah, I think we've got the answer. Yeah, well done. Let's just demonstrate that. So here we go. Check. A7 also wins, by the way, but rook c8 is quickest and flashiest. Takes. We give a check. Now, if well, king a7, you can just take the rook, and if king here, then we play king b6, which is pretty sweet actually, with the idea of a7 mate. And if here takes, And we get there just in time. And if instead of that, king here, here, and here, and mate. So that was very easy. But actually, that's kind of neat, actually. Rook c8, very sweet move. I like that a lot. King b6. Okay, let's deal with another question. I'm being asked whether I play other board games. No, I'm not really. I mean, for relaxation, I like backgammon. I like backgammon a lot. I like playing cards, but again, just for relaxation. I never play poker. I don't like poker. I enjoy playing cards just for fun. I used to play a bit of bridge. I like that a lot. I just play in the family. For me, it should be relaxation. I've already taken chess far too seriously in my life. But I really enjoy backgammon, actually. I think backgammon is a great game and very relaxing. Let me see. Snooker. Yeah, well, these aren't board games. Snooker. Trivial Pursuit is... Okay, that's not serious. Did I get to the London Chess Classic this year? I did. Yeah. I was actually commentating there, but not online, for an in-house audience, and I was also giving some tuition at the DeepMind offices, and it was absolutely fabulous to go to DeepMind. It is, the people there are just great. They're really very positive people. Very, it's a place that is just kind of fizzing with ideas. And the people there are just really pleasant and very, very smart. Smart and pleasant. It's a really nice combination. So I love going there. Very interesting people, and obviously the AlphaZero project. Well, the whole reinforcement learning project is fascinating to discuss with them. Let me see. Costas Anandiadis asks, am I married, Daniel? Any kids? Yep, I'm married, and I got 2 kids. There we are. What's my favorite food? Everything. I like food a lot. Well, I'm English, so of course I like Indian food. But I like all Asian food. I like French food. Most food, yeah, I like food, but I like good food. Hamburgers and stuff. I like proper food. Let me see. Gregory Kazakonjo asks, do I have a school or academy? Well, I have a few pupils. I guess the Power Play Chess channel is my academy. Hopefully a lot of people have said that they've improved their chess by looking at the videos. So there you go. You're all part of this academy, if you want to be. Do I cook? Asks Hazel Kwate. I do cook. I enjoy cooking. Mohammed Hossein Kazi Tabatai asked he'd like me to try Iranian food. I really like Iranian food. I've already tried it and I love it. And in general, Middle Eastern food, Turkish cuisine, Lebanese, Iranian food, I really, really like. Yeah, somebody says French food, Belgian beer, and a cup of tea. Yep, I love French food. I like Belgian beer. I've never been to Latin America. The closest I've come is Puerto Rico. which was fascinating. But no. Bacon Butty says, the king of sarnies, says Alan managed. Too right. I even like a bacon butty. Yeah, but really, Mohammed Hussein Qazi Tabatabai. Yeah, I really do like Iranian food. Seriously, it's great. And as I said, in general, I really like Middle Eastern food and Asian food, Indian, Chinese, Japanese cuisine. But I like good food basically. Okay, listen, I'm going to give you one more study, and then it's time for me to go. Let me see. What have I got here? Oh, this is a silly one, but it's kind of fun. And involves my favorite theme. Just a moment while I switch over. By the way, I posted, just before I show you this, I posted another AlphaZero video this afternoon. So there are now 10 AlphaZero videos. And, well, I'm going to take a break from AlphaZero for the time being. But you can see that, and I wanted to finish with a nice win as well. So it's a really beautiful win. So do check out the latest AlphaZero video that I posted this afternoon. And I'm going to continue posting stuff over the next few days as well. I'm going to start a World Champions Checkmate Challenge. Some simple puzzles from the World Champions in checkmating ideas from World Championship matches mainly. So do check out those. Just a bit of fun over Christmas, just to keep your brains working with a few little puzzles. Okay, here we go. Let me just, whoops, I've managed to click on the wrong panel. So here we go. And this one. White play, what would you do? Doctor Who fan 1971 says, in the Nordic and Scandinavian countries, we love rye bread, pickled herring, raw onion slices, curry salad with a boiled egg and schnapps. Do you know what? I've had that. I had a very good Swedish friend who used to give me schnapps and, in fact, aquavit with herring, and it was very delicious. Craig Fraser asks, where do I get my studies? Oh, from all over the place, actually. I've got a lot of, well, you can see the number of books that I have in my bookcases in the shelves. Yeah, somebody's got the right idea. Well done. It's a very bizarre idea, but it works. So here's the plan. B4, in fact, it's possible to play B4 straight away. This also works incredibly, followed by giving away the queen, but one can play like this. And giving that up. And B4. That's the basic idea. Very sweet. And now black has a whole move to try and avoid stalemate, but it is completely impossible. That's just a funny odds position. Incidentally, there are some tricks here. If you try to give up the queen incorrectly, so, well, I don't know, if you, for example, if you played here, let's take, because of this, and then here, and king takes rook, and that is definitely not stalemate. So you've got to get it right, basically. Okay, let's come out of that one. Okay, good. Right, I think I'm going to leave it there. Listen, I want to wish everyone a very happy Christmas. Don't forget, if you're looking for Christmas presents, then check out the merch. You can find the merch. If you look at any of the Power Play videos on the channel, you'll see there's merch down the bottom there, which takes you straight through to our shop online, and you can get t-shirts, you can get mugs, you can get hoodies with the Power Play Chess logo. So support the channel. Give yourself a nice Christmas present and support the channel at the same time. And if you want to get DVDs, then check out the link to my Power Play DVD series. There are some lovely Christmas presents for you. Or if you just want to support the channel by donating via PayPal, then please do that. Or on patreon.com powerplaychess as well. So yes, Feliz Navidad and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays, and whatever your faith is and whatever you're celebrating, have a really relaxing time. And yeah, why I'm in my shoes. Thank you for that recommendation. Let me see any other things I need to deal with. Okay, listen, folks. Happy Christmas, and more coming on the channel very soon. And listen, thanks everyone for your support. We're now over 50,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for joining the community. And it's really only with everyone joining in that it makes it possible for us to keep going, basically. So we are very grateful for your support and simply for your views as well, and for all your comments here. It makes it, basically. Enough said. Happy Christmas.